Alright. Hello and welcome to another episode of the one and only Rambleland. Today we have an episode with the one and only Cian Charlton. Cian Charlton, how are you today?
I'm not Cian Charlton.
I am very sorry, you look quite like him.
No, I don't. I look like you.
By Jiminy Cricket, you are right. What an unfortunate series of events for you, my man.
Alright, stop it. You're not a radio's DJ from the 90s.
That is very true, I am not.
Okay, enough of this. While Cian Charlton is not here in this room, he is my guest for today.
Many people may know Cian Charlton. He's one of those people that many people know, hence why he is well known. Cian Charlton is a young, energetic entrepreneur who's out there doing bits. I've always been kind of watching him from a distance, curious to see what he's going to do next, and anything he does seems to do well. And I like those people, those sort of Midas touch people. They're cool. They're fun to be around. You just never know what they're going to do next. His latest thing? Vintage clothes. And not just any vintage clothes. Sick vintage clothes. Like real nice branded vintage clothes. Cian goes through distributors around the world finding real nice gear that other people don't want anymore that he sells. Real simple, very clever idea. Make money off other people's stuff. He doesn't even have to make any new clothes, which is one of the big things I wanted to ask him about, is how he feels selling clothes in a world where we don't need to sell more clothes, which, by the way, he answers very well. Not only is he trying to sell clothes, but he's gone and done it in a tiny little town called Kiltimagh, which, for those of you who don't know, is a small little town up in Mayo. It used to be a hotspot. Then the recession came, all the young people left, all the businesses dried up, and it kind of tanked. But Cian has said no. We should bring back businesses to the small towns. An ambitious, yet commendable goal. And so far, he's done very, very well. I went, had a look around, lovely shop, savage setup, real cool sweets. He's got all these crazy sweets, the Jolly Ranchers and all these like American sweets. Really cool front in the shop. I think he's planning to do a cafe with it and it's going to be sick. He's got ice cream, which we had some afterwards. Spoiler alert, they were delicious. Real creamy, real rich flavors. And the caramel was absolutely delicious. Little chunks of fudge. And it was funny because when we finished up the podcast, there was people downstairs outside waiting to get into the shop. Even though he's closed Mondays to Wednesdays, people were outside saying, we want ice cream, we want ice cream. And I have to say, they've got a good taste in ice cream if this is where they want to go for ice cream. So he's become a little hub for activity in Kiltimagh, which is really cool and very exciting. Like, if everyone did what he did and tried to reignite their villages and their towns and where they're from, it really helps spread the wealth throughout the country again. But you see, there's a ceiling on these things. You can only make so much money in these small places. But Cian has the online market sewn up. He's very, very good at the online stuff, and we got into that too, because he's been a DJ, he's been running events in Dublin. Him and his girlfriend have other online businesses, from selling customized phone cases, which are sick, all this kind of marbling effect. Shout out Trippy phone cases. Selling customized skateboards. Shout out Off Piste. And selling clothes. Shout out 35mm vintage. We had a good chat around sort of entrepreneurial stuff, setting up a business, paying taxes, what other people need to do if they want to set up their own businesses, how to engage with the online social media stuff. Do you need a schedule for when you're posting? Do you need to follow all the ascribed methods for making money when it comes to social media? We discuss all that and we talk about it. So anyone looking to set up a business, this is a good podcast for you. Here you have a look into the mind of two young entrepreneurs trying to make their way. So there might be some interesting information for you. On that note, I did make 2 errors in it. You won't be able to see it as a listener. I did put a little edit. I was like, oh, this is where I screwed up. One of them was tax. I said you don't have to pay tax in the first year of business. That was incorrect. You don't have to file your tax in the first year of business. And the other error was, when I was talking about Burberry and their revenue and how much clothes they dumped in relation to revenue, I said they had 60 billion revenue. That was incorrect. I was getting the 60 from the fact that H&M allegedly had 60 tons of clothes destroyed. And that's where the 60 was in my head. But Burberry actually cleared $3.6 billion in revenue and dumped 36.8 million of their garments. That was it. They were the 2 screw-ups. As listeners, you won't be able to see the corrections I made in the screen. So now you have it. This is a fun one. I drove up to Mayo for it. I did like a little vlog, so you're about to watch a little vlog. Listeners on the podcast apps, I'll probably take that section out because you won't be able to see anything. It won't make any sense for you. But to the people viewing this, first of all, thank you, as always. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We need you. Especially you. Only you. Just you. We need you. And sit back, relax, and enjoy Rambleland episode 19 with Cian Charlton. Holy sugar. Oh, tired. Coffee. Doggy treats everywhere. Looks beautiful, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, very good.
Just 1 minute.
No problem at all, take your time. Waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
I feel it. I like how you have the dog treats in the water as well. It's a nice touch. It's a real nice touch.
Yeah. There's a lot of dogs around.
Yeah, man, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time there'll be dogs up and down. Were you working for Maher's originally?
Yeah, exactly.
And they just said, here, do you want to do this place?
Yeah, we are the official managers.
Is it quiet out here? Is it?
Yeah, it's a bit quiet. We just opened last week,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And still quiet, but yeah, the weather is not help.
No, it's not. It was good over the weekend though.
Not too much. We were expecting a bit more.
It didn't happen.
Easy, yeah, but that's like.
No, bro.
Oh, thank you very much.
No trouble at all, man. Thank you very much.
That's great. So we're gonna stay here 6 days,
You okay?
and just Tuesday we are closed. Like
Just
yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wish you all the best, man.
Okay. Thank
Cheers,
you.
bro. See you later. Now we can drive. Hello.
What's the crack, son?
How are we, brother?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
What's the crack? You made great time.
Oh, I tell you now, we didn't do too bad.
After you.
Thank you very much. Oh, wow.
We get some lights.
Story, boys. How are we?
Oh, Tommy.
Great to meet you, boys.
Oh,
Tim. Nice to meet you, mate. How are we keeping?
You up from Cork?
Yeah, just came up there, nearly landed on. Didn't stop, just kept coming. Oh, lad. Lad, I was not expecting this at all.
Yeah. Kiltimagh. Capital of Mayo.
Cosmic coffee. You know I'll be taking a cup of that if you don't mind if it's... Oh, shit. Oh, yes. Lad. This place is beautiful. Man, you've put some work into it. You've put some work into it. Nice. You gotta have a quote, don't you? You just have to. So long as you don't have live, laugh, love anywhere. Yeah?
That's an artist that does that. He did the mural, does all those signs, so I did more.
You actually know him.
Cool, that's it. Yeah.
He designed the welcome fee as well.
Well, this is like a generic thing. He sells these customs.
Okay.
You get like Brennan there with the beads there. Oh, to the way around,
And
Charlie.
what about all this sort of vintage art?
He does all that as well. They're all his artwork.
Man, that's sick.
Get this thing as well, yeah. Stand right there. No, but the keys are just over there.
Do you have a problem with doing accents? Do you have a habit of doing accents?
Yeah, I'm mad for just being like, oh yeah, like just I don't know.
What do they call it? Ad libs.
Ad libs.
In the rap industry.
Yeah.
Not just exclusively.
You know how it is. It is what it is. Am I asking you questions as well? If I want.
That's all this is like.
Just talking.
No, you asking me questions.
Oh yeah, okay,
I need
cool.
to talk about
That's
myself.
Good
Cian.
stuff.
Are you actually that selfish?
That's
You
what I
wanted
thought.
me to ask you all the questions?
Hardly.
What have you done? What's so special about you? What are you talking about? You are special. And I'll tell you why you're special. Because you've taken on a very ambitious challenge of setting up a shop in a small town in the back arse of nowhere that took me over 3 hours to get here. But I'm delighted to be here. And it is a wonderful shop that is extremely well put together.
Thanks, sir.
And that is a wonderful way to introduce Cian Charlton, my guest today. Thank you very much for allowing me into your shop.
It's great to be here.
And allowing you into your home.
Thanks for
cup of
coming.
Coffee. And meeting your boys. And say hi, boys. Hey. Yes. We have an audience. We have my first
yeehaw.
audience. This is a live audience, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving up in the world. Cian, great to have you on.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing here. What are you selling?
Clothes. Vintage clothes, second-hand clothes, socks, hats, scarves, headbands.
You really do
Custom
have
shit.
so much different type of apparel.
Yeah.
You've got such a variety here, and it's a lot. So that's one of the things that struck me is it's
Too
a
much.
lot bigger than I was expecting. You have a full upper story of what is this place? Where are we?
We're in the old Electric Mouse. Used to be like late bar and nightclub here in Kiltimagh. It closed like 12 years ago.
Okay.
Bar downstairs. This place was like where all the 18s, 21st would have gone on.
Yeah.
And there was another
So there was
nightclub up
someone
the
that would have
street.
been 18 years shifting in that corner there at
Fact
some
about it,
stage.
worse than that, I think. I think the DJ box is actually here in this corner.
That's where all the memories are made, man, in behind the DJ box. And so, tell me a little bit about the Electric Mouse.
Yeah, so Electric Mouse was like good spot, like busy, like late bar, 12, 15 years ago. Closed down, just a couple of bits and bobs gone wrong with it. Neighbours complaining, noise, pollution, just town was quieting down and stuff. Then it was just left derelict, like just sitting here collecting dust. Crow's nest was in here, like trees going up out of the smoking area.
Serious?
Just run down to bits. Just yeah.
So when you got this, is that the smoking area out there?
That was the smoking area, so it wasn't covered. It was open, and that wall,
I can see all the
that
guttering.
hole there. I know you're not going to be able to see it on camera. That was a wall. Those opened out areas were just wall. They were opened out recently.
Okay. Okay, so this was.
So it's been opened up a lot.
So how much work did you have to put into this?
Well, I didn't do any of the work.
But
like a lot of structural stuff had been done by PJ State. He bought this and then wanted to do it up. Like,
what was he looking to put into it?
He was gonna put it into turn into apartment.
Okay.
But like 2 apartments would be cool, but I don't know. Shop, like it could still be easily turned into an apartment, I feel.
Yeah.
Or a bar, but then rates and like the town in general just being quiet, it would be probably a bit silly to open another bar.
Because there's a bit of history in. I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. I'm not even gonna try. Kiltimagh. I dare it. Kiltimagh. There's a bit of history in Kiltimagh because you were telling me the other day on the phone there was how many pubs used to be here?
Oh, about 30 odd.
And man, this
Tons.
is a small town.
Yeah.
Like it's more or less just one main street in a T. You come up to the top of the road, and is that the main street at the top of this road?
Main street just there, and like there's like 2 side streets and Main Street. That's it. Church, Super Value, 2 garages,
and 30-something pubs.
Well, yeah, there was.
So this place was a hopping
6
centre
now.
in the west of Ireland.
6 or 7 now.
What happened there?
Just like the crash, like just the country's just
It was
demolished.
This
just
is one of
rural,
those towns
yeah,
that
just
got
demolished by globalization and just like people leaving, going to Dublin, going to Galway, working, no jobs. There's no factories here. There's not much work here.
Yeah.
Like if you're young, you can work in the hotel, but that's about it. Like maybe a shop, but like how many jobs are there for the young people?
And so they all
Very
left
little.
and went to the cities.
Yeah. So things just started slowing down.
And that was then.
It just everything was more expensive then. It just started like people like there wasn't as many pubs everywhere. It happened to every town. Because it used to be having a pub downstairs and your bedroom just behind. You lived on top. But then when that generation passed away or like moved away, it was just left and just turned into a house.
Yes. It was kind of like the heart. You see, that's one of the things that people, well, I don't know, older people obviously recognise it, like, but one of the problems when young people leave an area is that they actually are the next generation. They're the next generation of shop owners, they're the next generation of business people, they're the next generation of everything.
Fact.
And when you actually suck all the next generation out of an area, there's no one there to do the jobs, like, and the place just crashes.
Well, people are having less kids as well. Like that's like there was huge families, so like one of the 5 or 6 sons would have held up the bar or been around because it wasn't a done thing to be moving away. Like you didn't go to college 60 years ago. 40 years ago.
Yeah. And then once everything began to change and the practices changed, these kind of villages got hit hard.
Now it's standard that you go to college, and once you move away, you see the Dublin life or the Cork life or the Limerick life. You're like, ooh, I like this.
It's more exciting.
Never mind the small town.
And that's the problem, is that you can understand why people don't want to move back, because it does feel like taking a back step. Because everything's
100%.
slower in these little villages. Like I had a fantastic weekend actually in Kerry, just the weekend just gone, out in one of my guests, Dara Newlawn. He was one of my most favourite podcasts, brilliant individual, and he set up a glamping site in Kerry, outside of Kilorglin. Kilorglin. Yep, Kilorglin.
I know the place well.
Do you? Well,
I lived with a guy from Kilorglin last year.
Oh, no way.
Kevin O'Sullivan.
Very good. Shout out Kevin O'Sullivan.
Hopefully he'd be wanting to listen to this.
Well, he set up, so about 10 minutes outside of Kilorglin, up in the mountains, at the foot of the McGillicuddy Reeks, he set up this fantastic glamping site. He laid all these paths by hand. It's literally in the Kerry wilderness.
Sick.
He built an octagon by hand. He built a yurt by hand. He's in the process of building all these different campsites. He's got a little sort of a lake / pond. He's got a little kitchen area, bathroom, showers, all built out of wood, similar to that galvanized you have up there. Only he's got the see-through one, so that when you're showering, you're looking into the trees and you're looking at the sky. He's got a sauna, 2-person sauna built out the back of it. Man, this place is absolutely amazing. It's called the Black Dog Glamp. Base Glamp, the Black Dog Farm in Kerry. Highly recommend people go there.
Sick.
And where was the transition? Why did I bring up staying in Kerry? Towns, villages,
small towns. Kiltimagh.
Oh, don't do this to me.
Kiltimagh rhymes with Kiltimagh.
There was it was about young people leaving an area.
Yeah.
I did have when I go back to edit this, I'll find what I meant to say.
Do you edit all this all the time?
Well, I have to watch it through. I go through the whole thing and put it together because everything needs to be cut and fit. Like, because what you see in the camera, there's only like maybe a third of it is used. Because you have to put the two of them side by side, so you actually lose a lot of footage.
Yeah.
And every clip has to be put together and matched with the audio and stuff. So there is a bit of work. I don't take anything out. So far, there's not a single bit been taken out of any of the podcasts.
You leave every gasp and every in.
All of them in.
Good.
Because
it's natural.
It's natural, and
because no one can just be like Russell Brand. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast and talking to Russell Brand, and that man, like, I was amazed. I was like, how is this possible? He's just so fluent with what he's talking, and he's so ahead of himself. His mind. It's crazy.
Russell Brand is fantastic to listen to. And he's been making massive strides in the podcast world, and he's got a big YouTube presence now. Russell Brand is extremely entertaining. Going back to the Black Dog Farm, we can just go on. Why was I bringing it up?
Talk about glamping, talk about small business now.
I was coming around to that. That's what I was going to bring it. There was something with the young people.
Enterprise,
and you just get used to the city life. You don't want to. It feels like you're stepping backwards.
But then it's kind of cool as well. Like, what's wrong with the countryside? I don't know. City life is fun for like the few years. Like, I was in Dublin, good crack for the few years. Like, you're down in Cork. Clonmel, kind of a city. I don't know. No, is it?
No, it's a big town.
Yeah,
it's
big town. Still different to here.
And big Irish towns have a problem whereby a lot of bad stuff happens in big Clonmel towns. There's a weird thing happens within towns where a certain amount of people get stuck, and there's certain social problems that take place in these kind of towns. And I thought Clonmel was on its own for this until I was working doors down in Middleton, and I recognised the exact same traits of the different type of people and how they all mingle together and how people behave and treat each other was identical in Middleton as it was in Clonmel. It was an eye-opener for me that Clonmel wasn't unique in some of the problems that's got going on up there.
What's population in Clonmel?
It's about 20,000.
20, same as Castlebar. I think it's 20,000 in Castlebar.
In around that, it would be, yeah, similar size.
I just wouldn't consider them the same though. I feel like Clonmel is bigger from the few times I've been there. It's mad.
Clonmel people get around. I think they give the impression that it's bigger than it is, I'd say, because wherever you go, someone knows someone from Clonmel.
100%.
Yeah, Clonmel are well spread out. But bringing it back anyway to like local businesses and the fact that when the young people move away, and as you said, there's no factories around here, there's nothing tying people down. The process for making money is shortened because you've only got a handful of jobs you can pick from, and each of those jobs, they're capped at where you're really going to grow in success.
You have to do something for yourself because there's not that many employers in the small town.
There you go. And the people who are employing you, they don't have the ability to increase your salary and to put you into a higher wage bracket. And when you go to the city lives, you see the way people in there live, and you get a hunger for more money. You get a hunger for the higher lifestyle because the higher lifestyle is available. But you come back from small towns, you see it around you, and then social media amplifies it, and everyone's looking to get ahead and everyone's looking to build on it. And so it's very unusual for someone to come back to their small town and try and set up a business, which is what you've done.
Yeah, fair.
Why?
Saves me paying rent in Dublin.
That's
no, like fun. As in, like I had 4 like the guts of 5 years in Dublin. Like had the time of my life, good crack, whatever. Like first time living away from home, obviously going to college, so it's different when you're coming from a smaller town. And then whatever, college, good crack, sound. But then once I was done that, I was like, Kiltimagh, good to be back home. Mates are here, family's here, grandmother's here, stuff like that. Like west of Ireland, nice scenery, nice house in the countryside, nice things to do. Not activity stuff like Dublin. You can go to cinema, you can go to concerts, gigs, and everything's really close, and there's public transport, and everything's really easy. There's tons more people, but like something nice about just being home and like doing something in your own town and giving something back to the place you grew up, rather than being another person who leaves and stays gone.
But you're taking what seems to be the risk that you mightn't be as successful as if you mightn't be as successful as if you'd stayed in
Dublin.
the city.
Our
And
city,
does that
yeah.
not eat at you?
Well, I started this online, like just regarding the clothes. It was online, so taking like you need space for this. Like I was doing it on the floor of my house in Dundrum. Like the lads will remember that. Like Owen will remember that. The house on like my sitting room floor was just 30 or 40
Boxes.
garments on the like just lying flat on the floor, so I could see them. Wouldn't have to root through a box. That's where it began.
Oh.
And then I bought one 6-foot rail, and that was where the clothes were. And then it just was like 2 6-foot rails, 4 6-foot rails. Then COVID hit, was back home in Kiltimagh. The whole upstairs attic playroom where the snooker table is was taken over, and then I had more space. And next I had 8 6-foot rails, and I was just growing. Then I was like, I needed somewhere else, and then found another premises in town, relatively good value. Wasn't an open place, like wasn't a usable shop. And then did a pop-up shop there. Next thing I just kept that. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do this pop-up shop, clear out a good bit of stock, go back to the online at home with the smaller amount of stock. But I built it up so much that when I did the pop-up shop, I was like, oh, it's so much more comfortable just to be in here. Feck it, it's worth the couple of euro a month just to like have an office
Yeah.
and not be open to the shop. But that was like my office space, storage space, where I kept all the clothes, and was more spacious. I could rock in there at any hour of the day, do my online stuff, could do it at 6 in the morning, could do it at 10 at night, didn't matter. And that was fine. I kept that until like February, March, where I was like, right, got the opportunity to move into this place, and I was like, full-time job, like work a couple of days, be actually open. There's nothing else like it in Mayo. There's barely any clothes shops in Mayo. You can't get clothes, like, really. There's a Pennies, and that's about it. Like, I just have not been into a clothes shop in Mayo. So like, this is probably like you have a nice selection of stuff here. So for the west of Ireland, like, vintage shop is like cool and different. Like everyone would be like when I first decided to do this, I was like, would you not just open in Galway? I was like, shit, there's already a vintage shop in Galway, and then I have to pay rent down there, and then rates and a cost of a building there is so much more expensive than here. This is a fraction of what it costs in Dublin or Galway. So it's a good like launch pad to elevate the business, get used to retail. Like, obviously I've never done this before. I never ran a shop.
Yeah.
I'm only 23, I'm nearly 24. Like, it's something different, given this twist. Sure, I'm only signed for the lease for a year. If it goes tits up after a year, it's not making enough money to pay the bills, I'm not enjoying it anymore, I can leave. I don't have to sign up to like a 5-year contract in Dublin City and then get stuck with this building for 50k.
Is that what they do to you in
Like,
Dublin?
I was looking up a place in Galway, and I think it was 38,000 for a place. I mean 15-20% the size of this.
Whoa.
And it was a 3-year lease, so I was signing up for 100k rent.
That's the minimum lease you can
3-year
take out
lease.
of
If
it.
they don't want someone that rock in for 6 months and leave,
gone
or a
again,
year and just be gone, then they have to like
Yeah.
get someone else in. Hopefully that'll be a good tenant. It could be sitting there idle, not making them any money for a year. This will paying the rents, rates, and the electricity, and holding the place, paying the hours
So
for.
if a business was struggling within those 3 years, you have to pay that rent.
Oh
no matter what.
yeah.
Because you're
If
signed
you
into
get
that
sick,
lease.
if you fall off a bridge and break your back and you're wheelchair bound, you can't run your vintage shop anymore, and you don't have people to run it, and it just plummets to the ground. It costs you money. You're still on your contract. Legally, you're signed up. You're liable for the remaining rent. So either find someone to sublet it and hopefully pay it, and the landlord's sound, or like tough shit. Like, you're stuck. Like.
So you had none of those overheads. You'd
So I had no major overheads. Obviously, it costs money to put this place together. Like I got it as a blank slate. Like, it was completely white.
Media. Woo!
Blank slate media. Yeah, like, I got it like completely white. Like, the floors done. Like, the floors were sanded down about 3 mil because they were just black from a nightclub. And just the floor, like the walls.
That's
just white.
what all the little pock marks
That's
are.
high heel
They're
marks
high heels.
from jumping around the place.
I wondered what they were.
There used to be a a thing down underneath. The floor would be shaking down here, along here on our right. Like, the floor would have been actually shaking downstairs. Like, they're going to come through the fucking roof. Like.
Because you have family and stuff that would have known when this place
Oh
was
yeah,
happening.
yeah. Here all the time.
Electric Mouse. So they would have remembered this. This would have been their spot growing up.
I miss it. I would have been here with a bag of potato and a can of Coke.
I go away.
Maybe once I remember coming in after some sort of football match.
Oh man.
But I
you
can't
never would have
remember it. Like, I
imagined
can't
coming here.
remember it really.
And you see, that's something special that city living doesn't give you.
Yeah.
It really ties you into a locality in a way that cities don't. Cities are cold. They don't care. Business is all that they care about.
You don't know.
You're in and out. If you fail, too bad. The next one's in before you can even close the door. And whereas down here, it's personal.
Yeah.
And that's something real nice. But you'd obviously set up a business model that was doing well, because if you went from your living room floor to a rail, to 2 rails, to an 8-footer, and the next thing a full room in your personal house, and then a pop-up shop, and then a full bar, the business is obviously doing well.
Yeah, it's
or are you just buying stock that doesn't sell it?
It's tipping away. I'm just buying stock and holding, making it look busy. No, it's fine. Like, I'm lucky to be in the position to do this. Like, I work hard at it. Like, I put time and effort into. Like, it takes a long time to do all this bits and bobs. Like, anyone can buy a box of clothes and try and sell it on Depop, but to make it actually like viable business, to pay yourself and not have to work at, like, have it be in your full-time job. Like, this is my full-time job.
Yeah.
I don't need to be doing something else on the side. I don't need to be like working a bar shift and then come back in here. Like, this is like, I'm lucky enough to like live a comfortable, like, tipping away. Like, I'm not making a
that's
bomb,
incredible.
like, but all I want to do is do something I like doing.
Yeah,
this is not work. Like, rocking in here,
chilling with the
chatting
boys,
to people,
organize a few bits, tidy up a few bits,
send out a few orders, write a few thank you notes, and just like have a bit of crack, and then just reply to a few emails, pick some clothes.
Man, I'm jealous of it. Like,
yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
That's what people. You're wealthier in time and your lifestyle than people who get 100k a year at a job maybe they don't even enjoy. Like, and so that's actually one of the pinnacles of success. Actually, now people are beginning to come around that it's not about having the biggest car, not about having the biggest this, that, and the other, biggest bank account, whatever. It's actually about your quality of life.
Yeah,
and people are quitting major jobs because their quality of life is just so terrible.
Why would you want to work in a job that you actually like hate? You get up in the morning at 8:30 to get like the Lewis into the city and sit at an office
2-hour
table,
commute, nearly.
Like sit at an office table looking at like figures of like and auditing this thing, whatever you're into, and just depressed off your head, but work that to make money, to enjoy yourself for the couple of hours in the evening and the weekends.
And that's all it is.
Living for the weekends. Why don't just enjoy every minute? Like you enjoy every minute, I'm sure. Same.
But I'm still working I'm still working a main job.
Do you enjoy your job?
I did before COVID. COVID, we moved from the doors to shop security. That is one of the worst gigs you can possibly do as a human, especially someone who's sociable. And actually, no, there's no conditions there. It is not a job that people should do long term. When you see people in shop security jobs long term, they usually look unhealthy. They usually look unhappy. And that's not me reading into situations. Okay. That's me seeing them, meeting them, knowing what they're doing every
I didn't know you did that to
day.
now.
Well, I do. Yeah, that's my main gig.
Cool.
That's my main gig. So I'm still working full time, and this is getting squeezed in.
Yeah.
But like, I have little snippets of these moments, like being able to drive to Mayo.
Yeah, good crack.
In
Spontaneous.
the middle of the week to do a podcast and head home.
Yeah, fun.
What more could I want, really,
100%.
out of life? That is fantastic. That's sort of lifestyle. I remember having it after the Tolga podcast. We did Tolga he's the European bodybuilding champion, absolute gent. He's a doctor, genius individual, real smart dude. But we finished up the podcast. We could have had another coffee, and it was late at night. It was dark outside, but we went out. We did a gym session for about an hour in the pitch black, just chilling, man. And I had that moment of like, if I could do this full time, or I could run a podcast, gym with my guest, or go do something with my guest afterwards, go surfing,
later.
Go surfing, and know that the bills are going to get paid at the end of the month. That is bliss.
That's the dream.
That is bliss, because I'm not looking for the massive paycheck. I am looking for the lifestyle you currently have. I'm looking to be able to do that from the podcasts. But you see, that comes hand in hand with industriousness, and that's something you have in bucket loads, because this isn't your first gig. You've done a few different bits and pieces as you've come along. You got very successful in the music industry, from DJing to setting up gigs to actually running things. You've always been busy.
That feels like years ago.
It even sounds like years ago.
It's so distant in my mind now, the DJing. I'm running nights, organising nights. What was it? Reset.
Mad. Reset. Tell us a little about Reset and about that life that is now...
Yeah, I feel like I was DJing since I was probably 17, doing 18s here, small little like Newmark DJ decks, like my dad's speaker, he DJs as well, doing like 18s for like 50 quid, I was just doing for the love of a bit of crack, because I was always found myself plugging in the speaker anyways.
Yeah.
So like, why not just monetize this and actually just like be the DJ and provide a big speaker, which is all you need really.
Yeah.
So
DJs are fuming hearing this sitting at home.
Yeah, well, that's like at this level in like a small town like this, all they want is a speaker in the corner with someone to do requests and not have it with Spotify ads coming on in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So that was sound, doing that, tipping away, just kind of grew. Was doing like Feroga, Feroga and Tip. Yeah, doing like Feroga discos, teenage discos, and then I was kind of like, being like, fuck, like this is fucking serious. I'm making decent money, like a couple of £100 a night doing these Feroga gigs, and I'm loving it. So then I made like the DJ Instagram page, DJ Cian Charlton, not very creative. Went to college then, was still doing 21st, still doing 18, still was moving on 19, 20, got a gig, my first gig, real gig. I had never used new Mark 2000s, like proper DJ decks that you could call them, and got a gig, what's his name, Kyle, he was running another night in Dublin. How have I lost this now? He's running a night in Dublin, and I texted him, be like, any chance of a gig? Got me in for a gig at some stage in Hangar, my very first proper gig.
Hangar,
and all my mates came, and like it was just savage. I wore like some Mayo jersey, and it was just like mad, like class. And then I was like, that was like a clicky moment. I was like, I have to do more of this. This is sick. I can't believe I'm DJing in Dublin City in a big nightclub.
Yeah,
I was like,
because Hangar was a big nightclub. It was
it was mad,
big affair.
Mad, and I just fell in love with it. It was like an hour set, like I mean, like 50 people down in front of me, just my mates hyping me up. And then after that, I was like, right, doing that, and then I was like, can't get gigs. Hard to get gigs when you're not established-ish or know people. It's all who you know. I was only in first year. Maybe to start second year, and then I was like, one of my mates, Colin, at the time, we were like, he was trying to DJ as well and getting a few gigs very similar to me. We were like, let's set up our own gigs, give ourselves the gigs. So we were like, name, reset, for like resetting the style of music or something in Dublin. I don't know. I think we were kind of unique in the stuff we played, like disco-y, housey, techno. Yeah. Bit of everything compared to like some other nights, whatever. And then we just like, I remember where we did our first one in Wigwam, which was the old Twisted Pepper,
do you remember that?
which had closed a couple of years previous.
Yes.
And there was not much going on in Wigwam, but I kind of knew someone that was kind of linked in there somehow, and then I was just like, emailed them, rang them, could you give us a chance at a gig? They're like, not knowing who these young lads are. Yep. Boom, next thing, sell out, wiped 700 or 800 people in there, packed the first gig, the launch party. And from there, we were just like,
height to height.
Tenner ahead, like we were making nice, like it was nice money to make. There's obviously things to pay yourself, pay bouncers, pay for the venue, stuff like that. And like, so
you were renting these venues?
Basically, yeah, you rent the venue for like say X amount of money for the night, and then do your nights, get whoever in, and just running the Facebook page and running like event pages. That was when Facebook events was a thing.
Yes.
So, like running that and just like getting that hyped up. We did like maybe 10, 12 gigs, and then kind of like summer came, and then like it kind of fizzled out then again, and then I was running them myself.
Because that was
for
like
a while in
2018, 2017,
2018.
Yes.
They started doing some more like myself, bringing in other guests, like other DJs. Because it was kind of growing, like it's good following. Like people went to all the nights, like other DJs were getting like that were us. Yeah. And that's what I love doing. I was like, like another fella who was in our position, like couldn't get gigs in town. They come to us, other young lads, and just be like, oh yeah, we'll give you the gig. So yeah, I was like, boom, boom, and we just started bringing in other people. Like we wanted,
you were that person that
we
you
wanted to bring in
the
other people.
Yeah.
I was like, I was him last year.
Yes.
He wants a gig so bad, he'll do it for nothing. We'll pay him anyways, but he's delighted to be doing 45 minutes or an hour in the middle, at the start, at the end, whatever. And just bring him in and promo for him too. And then like brings all his mates, and then it just works either way. It's great.
Networking, man.
Yeah, that was first gig. Yeah.
And then from there, then
first business, I suppose.
It was the first major legitimate business or enterprise that you were taking on. Yeah, and it's similar. It's fascinating because the similarities in the way you did business back then has followed you up to now.
It's all online.
It's online first of all, but your manner for dealing and bringing people in and getting people involved in the project is extremely good. Because and it's something I'm trying to incorporate myself, whereby I take people onto the podcast, and it gives them a platform to talk, to have the podcast experience. It gives me a guest, it gives me content, and hopefully we can both use the energy to mutually grow from it. And rather than me trying to self-create all this different content and come up with it all myself. I let other people bring the content and let other things people have done to
Let
be
me talk.
how I get up.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
You've done the same though in running this shop. You have how many people? How many other local
What did we
businesses have you
count
brought
earlier?
in?
Yeah, we have like handmade chocolates from half an hour up the road, roast coffee here, 20 minutes up the road, 3 or 4 artists from town. I'm looking around the shop and trying to spot, yes, a girl that makes like those dream catchers.
Yeah.
Bracelets, key rings, like little rings, like like all sorts of
Even
stuff.
further afield,
Just,
that floor mat that's down there in front of you.
I was
that
looking
was
for an
English
Irish
thing.
person to do that, but there was no one I could find. So I had to go to the UK and get like a handmade custom rug. Yeah, cool. Just different. I don't know. I like giving people in my position the twist. I call it like giving them the twist.
Yeah,
that's what Dad says. So yeah, giving like other small businesses a go and a run and giving them like business. I actually got 2 rings made. Your man's texted me earlier on. Fella in Bundoran, this dude that makes like rings.
what, like finger rings?
Met him in the ocean, met him in the sea, and he was just like, we just like ended up talking. He was working in a cafe up there as well. He makes like finger rings, yeah. So we got like 35mm rings.
Oh, that would be sick.
I'm just getting 2, yeah. Just one for me and Jen for the crack. I don't know, just another small business, like whatever. It's cheap, like it's like 60-70 quid for like a custom ring, and it's giving him something to do, and it's just nice. Because
you see, you can, man. This is the whole thing. Like, is that the way your ability to network with people is very clever, and a rising tide raises all ships. And part of coming back to here to set up your business was it was a big goal. You were looking to re-inject business back into these smaller towns, and it's a bold move because it's something that no one is doing. Everyone's going the other direction. Anyone who's looking to succeed is going the other direction. And that challenge alone would be unnerving.
Yeah, it's like, well, you can, like, it's just good to give something a go. It's fun.
Yeah.
And like the worst thing that could have happened is that I was here for the year lease. I gave it a spin for the year. It didn't go well. And like, look, you could just liquidate this pretty easily. Anyways, like there was never any like huge selling my car to buy the place or anything big. Like no major capital at risk. Like it's fairly.
And so where do you think you're going to go with this?
Oh, I'd love to open a few more shops, like.
To go for the chains.
Cool. It'd be cool to have a Vintage Plaza Galway, Vintage Plaza Cork.
It would be cool, man.
Would be cool. Just again, just with the Vintage Plaza crack, like like just Plaza kind of is like a word. I swear, like it's an Americanish word to have like things like loads of different bits under it, like the Plaza. So like having like other small businesses from the localities, like a Vintage Plaza Galway could have like Galway producers. I know I don't have many ties with Galway, but it wouldn't be hard to get someone else in with that. And just have people. Give them a local space to like show their crafts or sell their stuff where they wouldn't be able to really. And
like, again, similar to me bringing on guests, you're allowing them to make the product. And you're just giving them the platform where they can.
Small, local. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Like small, like let like Tesco have enough money and all these other. I shouldn't be naming things, but like whatever. All these big brands and big multinationals have money. They like buy your stuff from a small producer. Buy the soap from fucking Margaret that lives down the road that makes it from natural things for $5 instead of buying it from H&M for €3 or whatever. You buy your soap. But this it's just nice.
This is the thing, is that one of the complaints people have about globalization and these major companies that come in and squeeze out the small people is that it will suffocate small businesses indefinitely. And it's all negative talk when it comes to small businesses setting up your own business. But you've pioneered reigniting the small businesses. And that's actually, again, from a business perspective, one of the ways people make money is they see where everyone's going and they go the other way. Go, there might be a market down here. And you're actually tapping into a market that people thought was dead and gone. And
but like that's it's on the rise now. People are like, loads of people started up small businesses with COVID, so like it's just like it's not a new thing now. Maybe like
social
2 or 3
media
years
has
ago,
made it very easy for people to create a business.
You can make a business account on Instagram so easily and just set up like Timmy's tattoos and do stick and poke tattoos and whatever, or do whatever you want. Sell little like crafted rings and like bracelets, and if you're good at promoting that and marketing it, and you have like a good marketing strategy behind you, and you're able to just expand and get out to people, and you produce good content, people will come and they like supporting that.
So that's where the trick is getting heard among the rabble that's out there. So one of the benefit the social media provides is all this free publicity, free marketing tools. The problem is that there becomes a saturation of whatever.
Everyone can do it all the time.
Everyone can do it. And all of a sudden, your competition goes from a handful of major businesses to literally anyone.
Everyone.
And everyone.
If they want.
And that can deter a lot of people. But whenever I hear something, there's already too many people doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. It's not about who
better.
did it first. It's just about who did it right. And one of the areas that is kind of saturated is PTing. So PTing is, and again, no hate on all the PTs.
I'm a PT.
Go for it. Yeah, you're a PT, exactly. And I actually only found that out the other day. I didn't know you actually have a qualification.
Yeah,
in
qualified personal trainer.
And
like what?
Yeah, and the problem is that as well.
You have to go at it. Yeah.
People. There's a lot of different courses, and so it's hard to know if someone's actually really qualified. And do they have nutrition? Do they have this? And what aspect of PT do they have? Etc.
It's experience. Like anyone can get the qualification.
The trick is that how to make your PT and be better than everyone else's, and that's actually a bit of an awkward one because I see businesses that have set up and they don't have the charisma to market themselves, and they don't see it. They think it's a case of they make up little slides, it's black and white text or something, and
you have to have the bit of flair.
You do have to
an
have a bit of flair.
artistic kind of imaginative flair. You have to be innovative on social media. You have to
it's
be
hard to be different. And
it's all the same content. Like there's only a couple of ways to, like there's the known ways to eat healthy, there's the known ways to like calorie track and low calories, lose weight, high calories, put on weight, bulking, blah 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 blah, and like workouts, and there's only so many combinations of workouts you can do.
Yeah.
And when people are putting it out there for free on YouTube, I just go hit workout.
Man,
if I can copy that video, 100%. I can copy it word for word, every single exercise the exact same. But like if I'm going to charge for it, you have to get people to like feel the value. Like you have to offer more than just this workout video.
Yes, you do.
So it's just a weird one to get into because everyone is producing the content for free now.
Yes, and that's the problem.
And it's so well known. Like you can just look up best workouts to be faster or fitter.
That content will be perfect. Like literally everything.
But how do you make money from that then? Because it's like saturated. Yeah, but like this, if you want the work to be a personal trainer, go out and get the clients. How many clients do you need a week to make money? If it's 40, 50 euro an hour.
You don't need that many.
10 clients?
Yeah. And that's one of the points I keep trying to stress to people is that there's more than enough audience
plenty of people out
and
there
customers to go around.
Trainers.
You actually don't need that much. You don't need 1.5 million to be making a bit of money. You actually don't need that. If you have a handful of clients, you're actually going to do well. If you have a handful of customers,
and do good for your niche. Like do good for your, if you're going to pick like women over the age of 50 who have back problems, then stay on that niche and be good with them women, and they'll get their friends in, and next thing you have 30 women trying to book you out every week and you're flat out. And
that's the thing, is people overestimate what they can do in 6 months and underestimate what they can do in 3 years. And people, and I had this conversation, this where I got that little line, is the last one with Eugene, financial advisor, another great episode. It's actually, there's been a bit of finance going on around me now at the minute, so it's actually fun. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
But he's always stressing with people who think they're bad at money and they want to make all their money now. In the next couple of months, they have to have, if it's not all in the bank in the next couple of months, they failed.
Everyone's looking for the quick buck.
Everyone's
like
looking for now.
crypto.
And they're exactly, everyone wants the latest trend that's going to make all the money in the world.
Going to make you a millionaire, no.
People need to take it down a notch, maybe humble themselves a small bit, maybe, like at the end of the day, look, I'm not Joe Rogan. I can't be comparing myself to the numbers he's doing and say, I'm failing, I'm quitting. Comparison is the thief of joy. You're never going to go anywhere if you're going to compare yourself after anyone else.
You can't.
Find your niche, do it well, provide good customer service to the people you can.
Enjoy the journey.
Don't underestimate where you can go with this. And that's one of the things. And is there any other sort of aspects you would have that you've noticed from doing a couple of different online businesses? Because that's the other thing. Shout out Trippy Cases. Your girlfriend Jen runs Trippy Cases. They are sick.
Yeah, they're cool.
They are really cool. So again,
where is it?
Real simple. Yeah, find. And if you have a Trippy Case, could you throw over one of the Trippy Cases there? Perfect. Nice little selection. So again, real simple. You can show it there for the camera there in front of you. Real simple.
Check them out. Yeah, they are pretty cool.
But they're really cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're artsy. They're class. They're artsy. They're different. They're unique.
And
every
handmade,
design is different.
Small business, like handmade. It's just cool.
And she's done extremely well with it.
Yeah, it's going good.
And that's a real simple idea that I don't know. People
Yeah, isn't
overlook
it?
the
I
simple
don't know.
things.
I actually need to remind myself how she got that idea. I don't even know where she got that idea because I copied Jen completely with the skateboards. Then after that, using that technique of
And
acrylic
that's what I was
pouring.
coming to. Have we a skateboard around? Have we one of the customers? There is a skateboard.
We have an old
there.
deck knocking.
Yes, perfect. So similar again. So we have these kind of this marble effect, these cases done by hand, all done, and then he took the same concept and he added it to skateboard.
I stole it and maximized it and zoomed it in
And it just makes for authentic, individual, unique designs that you actually can't get anywhere else.
No.
Now, skateboards are pretty cool because it's a quirky market anyway. So we've got off-piste. I'm saying that wrong.
Off-piste.
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 We've off-piste Instagram. We've Trippy Cases Instagram. Is
Yeah.
that the names on both of them?
Trippy Cases, yeah.
And now we have 35mm vintage. You would have had reset, and you've all this. You've had a good bit of experience with setting up online sites. Is there any trick or idea or technique you've used that other people would benefit from? That usually people won't find out without either falling for a pitfall.
Like you make so many mistakes. Like you put up things feeling like you need to put up content when it just doesn't matter. Like you think, oh, I have to do this competition. The only way to get followers is doing a competition. Yeah, we've done a few competitions, but it's just like giving a quality product and just doing it with like personal flair, personal touch, like making it personal, making the business personal, making the 35mm vintage followers kind of feel like they know me. I think works well because I like buying off someone who I know, like they're like proud of their business. They're not hiding behind the business name. Different things work differently, whatever the industry is, but the bit of personal touch, it's like, oh yeah, I'm keen and I run 35mm vintage. It's not this 35mm thing that's just like
out there,
a company.
Yeah.
It's like the personal things. You're buying from 35, but you're buying from like me.
Yeah.
I think that works. I think that's like the way. That's what's worked for me, anyways. With the small things I've done is like making that personal touch where like people feel like they know you and they're buying off you, and it's like the personal brand is actually like a bit of a thing. Like it sounds stupid, but like you're Blanks Media. People are watching you. Like they're not watching Blanks Media. Like they know you and they're liking your content and your crack and your style of talk and your questions.
I've ignored a lot of advice people have given me about you should do it this way, you should do it that way. No, I'm going to do it
do it your own way.
Flipping way I want to do it. I don't care. You should make them a bit shorter. No, actually, I'm going to go
I'm gonna
3
do
hours
10
next
hours.
time. You should make your intro shorter. Do you know something? 13-minute intro. Here we go. But this point ties in very well with what I've been noticing with a good few of my guests who've all run businesses. They've all done their businesses the way they wanted to do it.
Yeah, you can't listen to you can't be like everything to everyone.
Right, so we know that, right? We know you cannot market to everyone in one go. Just
You're
doesn't
gonna have
happen.
people
You're
that
going to be
don't like it.
exhausted.
It's like
You're gonna have
anything.
people who don't like it. So what people have done, shout out Stephen Winters, he runs the Barbers. Dar, fella I stayed with in Kerry, again did it all his own way, and that's one of the things he actually mentioned was that he doesn't want to go with a booking company. He doesn't want to go with booking.com or Airbnb or any of these crowds to advertise his thing. He wants it to be word of mouth, and he wants people to ring his phone number so that they are speaking to the fella who runs the farm, who can have that opportunity to be like, here, bring a pair of wellies at you with you the weekend. Look, the weather looks a bit sour now. You'd be best to come out. And that's going to be his thing of when it's bringing it back to the personal. So all these people who've set up these businesses, one of the things that seems to be a commonality between all of them is that they set it up the way they wanted to. And one of the things that happens then is that when you have customers who like your product, they don't just like the product, they now like you because you've shown a part of your personality to them in your business, and they go,
and it's easy to do that when you love what you're doing. Like your mate Dara obviously loves adding the extra little thing and putting the new roof on.
He loves it, man.
Doing all that, like, and that's evident. It comes across really well.
The labour of love
when
comes
you are there and you are like the business is you and you are the business, and it's
So definitely personal flair, and don't be afraid to let that personal side of you come out.
No.
I think people are nervous going, oh, I'm a bit geeky, I'm a bit weird, or I'm a bit stuttery, or I'm not able to speak very well, or I don't like the way this looks or that looks. They're so fast to find reasons not to do. Who
Who cares?
Who cares?
You're only worrying about yourself and like your own worst enemy when that kind of thing, the negativity, and it's like, oh, I'm like rotten looking, or oh, I can't speak, and oh, I have a big stutter, and I'm like all the time.
Yeah.
Or I say like 50 million times.
Yeah,
I can't have a proper conversation. Like, there's me.
Yeah, I was just trying to say there we go.
Like, you just have to be yourself, and like everyone has their quirks and their geekiness and their weird things they do.
What you often find is that the most popular people or the most liked are liked because of their quirks.
Yeah.
It's the quirks that make them different.
Because
it's
they
the
have the
quirks that
funny
make
laugh
people
or something
yeah,
like that.
something
Yeah,
weird.
like you don't want to be
people
this
will
perfect
remember
thing.
that. They mightn't remember the little generic stuff you've done, but they'll remember. He actually had this really cool brand on it. It was 35
whatever. Yeah.
Really weird. I've never seen that before.
What is that?
And it's weird things that stick. It's the quirks that stick. Use your quirks. Use your originality. Don't be afraid to flout it. If people don't like you and they stop talking to you, unfollow you, well, then you didn't need them anyway.
Okay.
And the other thing is that when people come and they recognize you and they like you, they're a more loyal fan base because they've liked you for who you are. You haven't tried to paint yourself as this generic copy of who you think people want to see, because then if people see the actual side of you, they'll scatter.
Yeah.
And you have a more loyal customer base when you show and you carry yourself.
Obviously, you're going to get unfollowers. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
Blank Slate gets unfollowers every now and again. 35 definitely gets unfollowers all the time. I might, like, a day I'd put up like a load of stories. It'd be like, people like, oh, I don't want to be seeing a story of clothes. Like, yeah, maybe they're not in the market for it, or maybe like they followed it for the competition and didn't win. It's like, actually, yeah, I'm going to unfollow that annoying page. He's always putting up way too much posts. But then, that's sound, whatever. Like the 1% of people can unfollow. Yeah. The other 99% are like, oh, class, I like seeing this content.
Yeah.
And that's why they're following. If you do not want to see the clothes, please unfollow me. Don't annoy yourself. Don't associate 35mm vintage Instagram with being annoying.
Yeah.
Like, just like unfollow it, no problem.
Yeah.
Don't care.
And that's
please,
on a separate
make
level,
yourself happy.
On a separate level, people need to have the balls to unfollow things they don't like. I don't understand people who get angry over things they see, and it's like, well, then just don't look at it. That's
like,
all you have to do.
Great example is like when girls especially follow all these models and get thick at themselves every time they're on Instagram. These fake girls that aren't real. Like, and it's like, why do you follow them then? Why? Like, who is this million follower girl? Big ass. Unfollow her if you're going to make yourself conscious every time you go on Instagram. Same with lads. Like, following all bodybuilder men isn't great for the mental health either. If you're not confident with yourself and you're not like in the shape of your life, you can be like, oh man, I am some fat piece of shit. People
need to that's a side note. People need to unfollow things that don't make them feel better on social media. That's a big one. Coming back to then people again, tips for people starting out. Is there anything else glaringly obvious for you that when you started?
Don't be afraid to do it. I think like a lot of people are afraid to just put up stuff. Like, don't be afraid to just put it up. It doesn't matter if you have 50 followers. Like, put up content.
Everyone started with 50 followers.
It should be great for those 50 people are following you. Don't think you're useless because you have 150 followers or whatever. Like, oh yeah, that page is 10k. Oh, I only have 500. I'm not going to bother putting up anything anymore. Giving up. Because, oh shit, they're just blowing me out of the water, or like whatever. Like, that's way better than mine. So give it a go. Like, you still remember that if you put 150 of those people in a room, that's a lot of people. Instagram has made numbers so much smaller. Like, I think there's 10,000 followers on 35 now. Like, 10,000 people. If you put 10,000 people in a football pitch and stood in front of them, what?
One fella said he's friends with James Smith, the PT fella. He was having a spat with somebody. James's mate, I can't remember his name, was having a spat with somebody, and she goes, well, you've only got like 200,000 followers or something.
What?
And he goes, if 200,000 people stood in front of you and spat at you at the same time, you would drown. And it was just when you actually put the scale of numbers into context.
People. What, 2.5 Crow Parks?
It's mad.
Stop, mad.
You see 100 people hanging out in Cork on a Saturday evening, and the place looks like it's a festival.
Yeah.
Like, people, as you said, they get desensitized to these numbers.
Desensitized numbers. Even like personal pages as well. Like, you have, I say, 3,000 followers. You're just like, that is not like to take a low amount of followers. Or like people, like, I don't know. It's just crazy the way it's like people have gone now with followers and friends.
Yes, their concept of numbers has completely got skewed, and it's messed with how they think they're doing.
It's weird. It's really weird.
It is weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
And I hate how Instagram numbers has come back now. Now it says the amount of likes.
You can opt to have.
I was
your
enjoying that other section. A certain amount of numbers.
What's interesting is the people who have opted to go back to showing their likes and the ones who haven't. That's been kind of fascinating, because there's been some real major accounts who would have millions of likes who haven't gone back to turn on their likes, and then there's people who only getting a handful who have their likes on. I don't know. The likes has always been a weird one, man, because
It is weird.
I've never given a bollocks about the likes.
Who gives a shit other than
Other than yourself.
do other people
People
care?
do compare likes. They
It's
do.
like, oh, she got 500
They
likes.
do.
And
They
you
go
got
and compare
200 and
likes.
deleted. What?
Especially
Why?
against people they don't like.
It's weird.
If they see a certain number of likes on a photo, they're going, now I better
But
they'll
what's
go
even-
and check the person they don't like and say, I better have more likes than them, and they don't see it.
What's worse is checking who liked it, like full on going in and be like, wait, he didn't
real
like
into
it.
the nitty gritty
Like, that
of the
is just
bitterness. Like,
I never got into that, thankfully. But like, I know so many people who do, and it's
Yeah.
such a thing.
it is a thing, and it's
Or
not.
like,
It's, again,
an unfollower, and going through to find out who it was, being like, it was Timmy Brennan, that bastard.
it's real bad for
Weird,
people, man.
it's weird,
It's
weird.
real bad for people. But yeah, definitely trying it. Just going out doing something.
Yeah, doing it, just going at it, and well, it's such a hard thing to do. I feel like it came as naturally as it could to me. Like, I'd never really tried to do it. It just kind of happened.
You did
Like, obviously,
you,
I put
and
in
it just
effort.
happened to work.
I just did me, and it just came together. No, is that the universe? Is that me? I don't know.
Did you have a schedule for posting?
No,
You just posted when you wanted to
I
post.
post when
and
I feel like it.
I was the same.
Like, why? I don't know. I don't have a calendar. It's like, oh, Instagram post 6 p.m.
Better go
It's
do it
peak
now.
time to
Yeah.
get likes. No,
Yeah, okay.
I post like 2 in the morning. Why does it matter? The algorithm mixes it up anyway. Sometimes the first thing that comes up is 3 days ago for me.
It is weird,
It
yeah,
is.
when you
It's
get into
not
the nitty gritty.
time,
A lot of
like,
people
it's-
study the analytics, and I do understand if you want to
Yeah, it makes
squeeze
sense.
every last percentage of viewership you can out of social media, you do need to follow the analytics and
Yeah,
try to manipulate
there's
it,
ways
but-
to manipulate the algorithm.
Yeah, but you're talking about the 80-20 principle, whereby you're going to have to do 80% more work for 20% extra gains. And
Yeah.
right, grand, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
Happy.
yeah.
I'll sit with my 80%,
I'm happy.
and the last 20% at the moment is not worth it for me to pursue.
Glass half full.
I was curious. I did want to ask a few questions though about the industry you've gotten into. Is one that is coming under fire. The fashion industry is a trend, and this ties in with social media and trying to stay up with the Joneses and trying to keep your likes up and keep this and keep that and looking to be successful, looking to be popular. It ties in very closely with fashion and what you wear and how you wear it. And so as a result, we've seen fast fashion skyrocket. Like one article I was reading, the average American would buy 20 garments a year only a couple of years ago, and now on average it's 68 garments a year the average American would buy, and most of those items are worn once, if not only worn for a photo. And there's a rise in that where people will take the photo and discard the item.
Yeah.
And they don't even discard it to a charity shop or to a recycling centre. They bin it.
In the bin.
A lot of people will bin clothes regardless
It's
of the price.
disgusting, yeah.
They just, there's a disregard, or there's an uneducated group, or there's people who are just unaware that you really shouldn't be throwing out
But they
stuff
just don't
like
care.
that.
Or they just
don't
They
care.
just don't care. They're like, everyone else does it.
Yeah.
That's this thing as well, yeah.
And so how do you feel about getting into an industry where you're selling more clothes and more things that we already have enough of? So how do you balance it with that?
Like, ideally, you wouldn't buy clothes off me at all. You just wear what's in your wardrobe.
Yes.
Ideally.
Yes.
I should not be saying
if
that.
your
but like,
belief was to be
be,
maximised,
like-
you wouldn't have a job.
if you're gonna buy one pair, like, you can be a person here that will buy a pair of jeans once a year, say, right? That's like a nice pair. That's brand new pair of jeans. Okay, yeah, they're brand new pair of jeans. But then you have this person here that will buy one pair of jeans every month, but give them to the charity shop. Who's the most sustainable there? Like the person who buys the one pair is like, I don't give a shit about organic or sustainable or the environment, but I'll still buy my one pair of nice jeans a year. Then you have the other person, environment and sustainability, I'm gonna still buy a pair a month. It just, like, this person is still the more sustainable. Like, you can be on two sides. Like, you can be, it's just crazy.
So what
to
you're
get
saying
around.
there, even though you're given specific situations,
for
what you're saying is
example-
that less is what we need to be
less
doing.
is what you like. Yeah, like wear what's in your wardrobe. Like you don't need to buy clothes all the time. Yeah, if that's your thing. Like some people spend money on pints. Some people like to spend loads of money on food. Some people spend loads of money on holidays and traveling. If clothes is your thing and you like treating yourself to clothes, do what you love. But be like, yeah, like do what you love. Obviously, like if you're into clothes, cool. But always just, I think, being aware of where your clothes is coming from, where it's going, and who makes it, how it's made, and the impacts it has is important. I feel like when people just ignore and don't want to know, just play dumb to like where it is coming from, it's just being silly. Like people should be educated about it, and that's what I kind of try and do sometimes. I put up a few posts every now and again about like just like reminding people to be like aware of where their clothes come from. Like obviously I don't know where everything comes from, but at least this isn't new. Someone else has had this before, if not several other people, which actually blows my mind sometimes. I don't know how some of this is second hand.
Because of the condition.
Because it's so good. Like a lot of the time.
Because people are buying it.
Yeah, it's mad. But people are buying it and like just doing a clear out and putting it into a charity shop or wherever they get these things. I don't actually know. Like Goodwill bins and stuff. But just this whole thing of buying like brand new, like really, really cheap, shit quality clothes that are like for a fiver. Like you wouldn't bother your arse washing it because it only costs a fiver. Oh, it only costs a fiver.
Yeah.
Buy another one. I could buy the same top again, the same blouse, for example.
Yeah.
I feel like female fashion is more so
I
fast
think,
fashion.
yeah, I think that's
that
a
makes
fair
sense.
statement.
I feel like in the statistics,
there's more pressure on them. That's the problem.
Girls buy more clothes.
Yes,
overall.
because they probably would have done anyway, because girls like looking nice and dress and getting done up, and I understand that. And it is nice to have a fresh outfit when you go doing that.
Female fashion is more.
But now girls are under even more pressure again. That now, if you wear the same outfit twice, it's not that you're just bad with fashion. You must be poor.
But you have to keep up with the trends as well. Like
you must be something else, and it's even worse to wear an item twice. And I feel sorry for girls, especially because I do think they're under more pressure than fellas are to always look on the peak of the trends. And then social media just comes in and
the type of outfits are different though as well. Like you have like your dresses and stuff that are going out clothes.
Yes.
There's not that much going out clothes being sold now, I'd say, with nothing being open. But like I have 2 pairs of jeans, black, navy,
and that's it.
And like 2 pairs of shorts. I need new shorts. These are ripped.
And I'm also one of the people that I will wear clothes until it literally falls off me.
It rips you.
Yeah. Until it disintegrates in my hand, I will wear an item of clothing.
Same.
But
I can just have a big wardrobe now. So
how do you balance what you said with the fact you are still selling clothes?
Well, in my head, like, this is a business, but to buy clothes from here is number 1, cheaper than buying them new. Number 2, not buying new. Number 3, probably cooler. I don't know. There's something nice about like older style of stuff. Like there's some really nice bits in here that like you just can't buy.
It is a trend though.
And vintage clothes is trend. So you are also, being on trend with the 90s Nike spell out jumper, for example.
But that's also a negative.
But because they're,
it could potentially collapse your business if the trend moves away from this.
Exactly. But you're always going to kind of keep up. Trends are always changing anyways. Like North Face, like brown North Face jackets. I don't know if you heard about this trend. I never got onto it either. But like, apparently brown North Face stuff there, a couple of like around Christmas time, just the thing. Someone wore it and everyone wanted brown North Face jackets, and you could get them new 2 years ago for like 300 or 400 quid, and they were selling them second hand for like 700-800 euro. I saw one on Depop or something. It's crazy. I was like, what? It's just the trends change all the time.
But
we're going off track. The clothes, it's just like nice to give them all a second. Like this would actually, like this stuff would be in a bin, like it was rescued from charity shops, and if they're not bought from the charity shops or whatever, then they do just end up in actual landfill. Because
so can I ask, where the majority of your stuff, where do you source it?
Like England, most of it comes from the UK.
Is there companies that have all this stuff and they're like, you buy a kilo of it? Or
I don't know the ins and outs of where they get it necessarily. What I think and what I've seen and read and what I makes sense to me is that like a team of people would be in New York City and they go to the charity shop, thrift stores. I don't know if you've seen those kind of stores in the States. Crazy Goodwill shops, and pick any nice thing, anything that's decent for like $1. And then they ship it back to the UK in a big container or wherever in like bales of like categories, so like sweatshirts, USA, whatever, hoodies. And then I handpick them. Like the next stage is I
So
handpick.
every item here.
I've been like, yes, I want that.
So these aren't just bags that you
No,
ordered.
yeah, you can get that cheap. It's cheaper to do that.
Yeah.
But like I handpick each one of
From
these.
their website,
Like,
you're scrolling through.
Well, yeah,
Or
like
do you
video.
actually go
You
over?
can do video calls as well. I've been over to places too. But like you just like physically just like flick like the girl or boy flicking through it, be like yeah, no, yeah. Just picking bits. Yeah, it's time consuming, but like you end up having better stock. You pay more, but it's worth it. 100%.
And so
It gives me much more relationship. I have a relationship with each and every garment because I've chosen it. So then when I see, it's so funny, you see people like walking down the street in like Bundoran, for example. Perfect example, a couple of weeks back, I was in Bundoran and a girl walked up the street wearing fact Adidas jumper. I was like, 35mm vintage. She was like, and like recognised me from the page,
no
whatever.
way.
Yeah. Mad. It's funny.
Oh,
It was
that's
funny.
sick,
I was like
man.
35mm vintage, and like she like looked across the road, and I was like, like nice jumper.
Oh my days.
Yeah, it's just I didn't know her.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's funny.
That is sick.
But I knew it was mine. Like I know every piece.
Yeah. Because you'd picked it.
Yeah,
you,
it's funny. Yeah.
Again, labour of
Yeah,
love.
it's
You'd been
funny.
involved
It's
at
funny.
nearly every step.
It was
of
a
the
nice jumper.
process.
To be fair.
And there's an increased markup then when you're buying it off themselves. And as you said, it's cheaper to buy just a big bag of it,
But then you end up with a load of shit.
and more than likely stuff that maybe you won't be able to sell.
Yeah, I'd be sitting on it for ages.
And
It's
then-
hard to
yeah,
sell.
yeah.
So it's just more like that's what I was doing at the start, because like when you're like this is just a learning curve as well. Like you have to try these things. Like I got scammed a couple of times. Like you're like buying off this fella who has loads of class gear in the States, and like you send him PayPal money as a friend and family, and just never comes, and he just blocks your number, which is annoying. But naive of me from the start, thinking I was getting a bargain. It was too good to be true. Like you can buy like big bags, like 20-kilo bag of random sweatshirts, but like then they have to get rid of theirs. Like the wholesaler has to get rid of their shitty stuff as well.
And there's a high chance he'll fill
So
your
then, like,
bag with
obviously,
everything
like,
he
you
doesn't
have
want.
to do that.
Yeah. I get that.
Like
I
it
get
makes
that.
sense as a business. You can't just be stuck as like they will. A wholesaler is doing what it is a business. They are like being sustainable by taking clothes and selling them on, but it is a business.
Yeah.
So they have to get rid of their stock,
Yeah.
or they will have to donate it to charity as well, and then it's just money, and then it's just the way it works.
And so is there a handful of companies that you go to?
Yeah, I have a couple of suppliers.
You have a couple of suppliers and you
Yeah.
hit them regularly.
Yeah.
And like their stock turning over the whole
They're
time?
just turning up. They'd have loads of people just like me buying it as well. So like they have their customers, and just
And is there many people in Ireland doing this?
loads.
And
Loads.
are they?
I'd say there's
are
at
they
least,
far along the
I'd
process
say
as
there's
you
at
are?
least 100. I think there's. I don't spend too much time. I'm kind of busy to be scrolling through and keeping up to date now. I used to at the start, but now I'm just like, no, I'm just going to do my own thing and not follow. I don't care how many followers XYZ has. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to do my own bits here. Like I'm happy with the shop now. It's cool, but there's definitely like I remember when I started about a year and a bit ago, like maybe 15 months ago, there was not many, and then like people I've talked to since, like, you were one of those first page, like there wasn't many vintage shop. Now everyone is doing, like, you were the first one. I feel like you were one of the first ones. Like I don't remember following any other vintage pages back then. But I didn't either. Like I wouldn't have known. But now anyone can buy a load of clothes. You just have to type into Google vintage wholesale clothes, and you can just buy a big bag of fucking clothes. Excuse my language. And set up a page. Just call it Little Vintage, whatever you want. And
Did you start on Depop?
I started on Depop, yeah.
And then
and then I made an Instagram page. I was selling my
Depop
own stuff.
take a cut, don't they?
Yeah, 10%.
It's just a big chunk. That's
It is a big chunk. If I was still on Depop,
Oh my goodness.
they would be
Oh my goodness.
doing well. And a lot of but a lot of people do that. Like a lot of people stay on Depop because there is that Depop platform where like you have your Depop followers. Like I think there's some pages there could have 100,000 followers on Depop, and their stuff comes up first on the list. Depop take the cut, but then you are hitting a lot more people because Depop is the go-to. If you're looking for me, you have to go 35mm vintage.
Yeah.
Depop is very general. You can go on the app, and there's loads of sellers.
It's the same again.
stock.
Like Dara didn't want to go on Airbnb, and but Airbnb come with a certain amount of service provision.
Yeah, you get
that
more,
make your job a little bit easier.
Yeah, of
and they
course.
take their cut. So
Yeah.
you decide, do you want a little bit more convenience?
It's like Just Eat or Deliveroo. Like they take their cut.
And that's fair enough.
They have to. Like
Everyone
you're
has
going to
take
get
their
more
cut.
orders, and orders you would not have got if you weren't scrolling through Deliveroo. It was like, I wouldn't mind it, Camille. Whereas, it has to. Like, they're a business as well.
Yeah, and it's a little bit tougher now to do it word of mouth the way you've done it. But then, as we said earlier, once you get there, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And so, like, how much stuff is actually new? Like, because you have branded stuff that's obviously new.
Well, actually, those branded sweatshirts, I don't know if you can see them in the shot, are all second-hand sweaters. They're all vintage sweaters that I got embroidered by a local girl as well. She's over in Clamars. Joanna is her name. She embroiders them. Yeah, they're second-hand. So like I just like go down to my supplier and I say, give me a load of blank sweatshirts, and then I just got like 50 colourful ones and just got them embroidered. They're cool. I like them. You can have one as a gift.
You're right. I have to actually, as I said to you, I actually have to pick up something for the girlfriend. She had a handful of jumpers now. She's after sending me pictures of. She goes, I want one of them. I'm like, all right. I'll have a look to see if he has them. So I had to get her to text me again so I didn't forget, because that's something I would absolutely do.
Yeah.
But like the socks over there, they're new though.
Yeah.
So there is a handful of things that are new, and then the rest then is all second hand.
Yeah, like 95% is new. Ours second hand.
Okay. And you see, that's the thing, is that, but then we have this bitterness that goes on among the luxury brands. Burberry turned over, I think it was close to 60 billion in 2018, but dumped, and not just dumped, it destroyed,
burnt
30
million tons.
No, 38.4, something around that figure, million euros worth of their products,
because they didn't want it in a charity shop.
Because they didn't want it getting into charity shops
or ending up in Africa, which is so depressing.
Yeah.
What, like, yeah,
and like there was a whole group of luxury
crazy
brands whose products were stuck. Their return items were stuck on mainland Europe. They couldn't get it back because of Brexit, and so they're like, destroy it. Don't give it away. You make sure you destroy it.
Like, things get smoke damaged, like the smell of smoke off them, they're just destroyed, not given to charity. It's mad.
And there's a
sad
real bad culture
in
the fashion industry. Like clothing industry is up there with one of the most environmentally damaging practices at the minute, from the amount of water they use, from the slave labour, from the way they harvest their stuff. It's a bad industry. There's a lot of evil that goes on there.
Bad shit.
There's a lot, man.
Bad
and
shit.
people don't want to address it.
Yeah. But it's like all the hidden things, like the amount of water that's used to produce and grow cotton from irrigation in those dry countries is crazy.
It's insane.
I saw as a figure 20,000 litres of water for a kilo of cotton. I don't know, something now, don't quote me on that.
And we get in trouble for not turning off a tap when we're brushing our teeth.
Stuff. And then you have like cotton, and you have organic cotton.
Yeah.
And it's completely different, like just the way they grow it and the way they produce it. You
have the issue though with greenwashing, where businesses will just slap a few terms in there because it sounds good, it markets better, and at the end of the day, you really don't know if you're actually getting, like, sustainability isn't a certification. It's not a banner. You can just say sustainably produced.
There's no real definition for sustainable either.
No, there's not.
Because I was trying to get one, and there isn't a definition of sustainable really, because it's so kind of subjective. Like, what's sustainable is different for each industry.
Yes.
Like the sustainable farming, sustainable fishing. Like, I don't know. We're not going to go into the fishing.
There's
Seaspiracy.
That was actually done. Actually, on that Seaspiracy, people got all worked up over that. That was the same fella who did What the Bleep. That fella who produced that is a nut job. And there's a lot of
propaganda in it.
There was a lot of BS in that documentary.
Like 99% of fish stocks down. Where did he get the figure from 100 years ago?
There was a lot of BS in that. It was extremely one-sided, and he purposely organised that documentary to be the worst case scenario imaginable. Yeah. It's not as drastic as he's made it out to be. People need to relax. Seaspiracy is not 100% sure. There may be, say, 60% accuracy in it, but there's a lot of BS.
There's a lot of But then, like, every industry, like, you can do, like, I don't know, the scene at the end where they're killing the whales.
Yeah, that's a sad scene to watch. But that's a culture up there. Exactly. That's how they've lived.
Yeah.
They've always
things
done
like that happen. Like, what's the difference between a dolphin's life and the life of a chicken who are killed by you get a bowl of chicken wings. Same principle. Bowl of chicken wings, it's a grim thought. Like, a bowl of chicken wings is like 30 wings.
That's multiple
15
birds.
chickens.
Yeah. Just for you to have a bit of barbecue sauce all over your thing. Gob. And the fact is that the way that those whalers, they're not whalers, but the way that those people would have killed and harvested the whale meat in the documentary,
it lasts them for a couple
of months. That's probably more sustainable than anything you can imagine.
Like the bycatch crack, when like the big trawlers go through, there's like kilometre nets that just catch absolutely everything and gobble it up. Everything gets stuck in it.
That's a big problem.
It's just wiping out. And then
Yeah,
they dump
yeah.
the nets in the sea.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
70 or 80% of the plastic in the ocean is fishing nets.
Discarded fishing nets.
Because they're made of plastic. Crazy.
And there's
Crazy,
there's a
crazy.
small island. I think it's nearly the size of Manhattan. Manhattan. Manhattan, floating in the middle of the sea. That's just pure plastic.
What's
Where
that called
plastic
again?
just come together.
You can see it on Google Maps.
You can, yeah.
Just a big swell
Of
that's
plastic.
huge, and they can't
colossal.
even. And you know what? And then they go on about like, oh, don't use plastic straws, and it's like 0.1% of that is
man,
plastic
the
straws.
plastic straws.
Because one turtle got a straw stuck in his nose.
Yes,
One
kid,
turtle.
yes. Everyone got on this stupid train
About plastic straws.
Give me back my plastic straws. Paper straws. Let me just clear.
They just dissolve.
They're useless, right?
No,
So first
fair
of all,
enough,
they're
like, yeah.
impractical, but also they're non-recyclable. They're totally.
Are they even biodegradable?
They're some of them are biodegradable. Some of them are made from types of plastics. They cost more to produce per unit. They use more natural resources in production. The 7 biggest polluters, the 7 biggest rivers of pollution, are all in countries that don't use paper straws.
But they don't get stuck in turtles' noses.
And they don't get stuck in turtles
So they're
yet.
good.
Because, okay, grand, yeah. Grand.
Yeah.
They don't get stuck in turtles. So the one little turtle. But there's something interesting there. That one little turtle video
One little turtle
changed the entire economy around a single product. If we could do that for other things that are causing problems out there,
It just
we'd
needs
be
a viral
amazing.
video.
But we get viral videos about real sad events and we don't change your behaviour. I don't know why the plastic straw was seemed to be so visceral to people that people decided, oh, this is something we're going to change everything. We're going to bring in laws around plastic and paper straws.
Yeah.
What?
When I was registered
Your
this place,
phones are made on nearly the back of 90% slave labour,
Everything's
and
made
you're
from
going to
plastic.
complain about some turtle that get a straw stuck in his
yeah.
nose.
polyester clothes, which is like main fabric used in like those cheap like fast fashion stuff, all made polyester. That is plastic.
That's oil.
And yeah, literally oil, and the amount of stuff wasted during that is crazy. Every time you wash polyester clothes, microfibers go off into the water,
Into the water
into
supply.
system, and it gets into fish, and then it gets into us.
And there's a woman, she was on Joe Rogan, I've forgotten her name, but she's tracking the sperm count, the fertility of men over the last 40 to 60 years, and it's more than halved in that time space. And there's a particular toxin that's released from these microplastics that gets into your bloodstream it's one of the things, now they obviously can't prove 100%, but it's one of the things she believes is responsible for male fertility dropping and female pregnancy complications. The female fertility is these microplastics in our oil, in our water. And the other thing that happens when you start doing production with polyester is that items become less recyclable, because when big companies get accused of not recycling their products, well, they'll tell you you can only recycle a certain amount of stuff out there. It's actually quite hard to recycle.
Yeah, it is, because if it's made of different components, different materials,
it's
it
real
can't
hard
be
to
recycled.
separate
It has
them.
to be separatable, yeah.
And people don't understand that. People just go, just recycle. Recycling is not straightforward. You can only recycle a handful of household items. You can't recycle soft plastics. You can't recycle tinfoil. You can't recycle tissue paper. You can't recycle a whole host of other things.
Yeah.
Recycling is not the be-all, end-all solution. And it's actually becoming more and more problematic, because soft plastics, which is one of the main packaging product out there, we were only able to make that recyclable because, now I say we, this is in America, and most of I don't know what happens with the Irish situation in plastic, I'd say it just gets dumped, but America was only able to make softer plastics recyclable because it was packaging, and it was cheaper to move the soft plastics from America to China on ships, where the Chinese and Asian countries, the poor Asian countries, would separate out these soft plastics and have a handful of different uses for them. They're making cents on these things, and China has now put a ban on importation of these soft plastics. Not just China, Malaysia and a few other countries have too, because they've got thousands of acres covered in soft plastics, that
just piles
of it, and they don't know what they're going to do with it. And
but there's
crazy
piles of
pollution.
clothes out there as well that they go through.
Yes. And
Crazy,
America's recycling system is on the brink of collapse, and their waste system is on the brink of collapse, because the amount of waste that has to get shipped out of New York,
they just get so much
filling
stuff.
huge acreages of land in landfill.
You run out of space very quick.
Real quick, man.
How many people are in New York? 20 million?
Probably.
Or is that
I'm
stupid?
not good with that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
You're in around that figure.
Something stupid. Anyways.
Something
But like that
colossal.
amount of people and those skyscrapers, like people with the amount of waste and the amount
And,
of
like,
stuff
people
use
use plastic.
nowadays. Everything is packaged 50 times.
Everything's packaged.
Starbursts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Every little thing gets
Like everything
packaged.
is just packaged up.
And that's the issue, is that like the waste we're producing is colossal, and so then when you come into industries like this and you're trying to reuse and recycle some of the products that are there, it is admirable and it is important. But people need to be aware, and you're doing your best to educate people, but it's not easy to educate people.
No, it's not easy.
People don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's gonna, like, everyone's heard it before. I don't know.
They
It's
think
hard
they've
to
heard
make.
it
It's hard
before.
to make people care.
Yes, it
But like,
is.
it's easy to get lost in that as well. It's easy to get lost because we're so used of being in this consumer society where everything's all like new this, new that, the new iPhone, the new PlayStation, the new everything, the new shoes. Like everything's new all the time. It's the way it's marketed is to make you want it. Like, you have to have the latest and greatest now.
So that was actually another
That's
bit of
just the way it
financial
is.
advice that Eugene gave me, was he has to the way he the way he addresses advertising is that he looks at the relationship between himself and ads through a level of animosity. He sees it as an adversary. So anytime he sees an ad, he treats it that this is a threat. And that's the way he's reframed it in his mind for in order not to fall into the trap of it.
Good.
Because you have to think about it. There are billions of dollars pumped into advertising around the entire world with some of the smartest and brightest minds who have come together to devise systems to circumnavigate,
Sell stuff to us.
sell stuff to you. Like, it is a hostile
And it's
relationship.
hidden. You
between-
don't
it's
know
hidden.
it's trying to
real
hide.
sneaky, man.
Like, phones, listen, like, I don't know about
Real
you,
hidden.
but like, advertisements on the phone is crazy. Like, if we said the world, I never forget, I was going off topic small, but we were driving down to some party. We were on about Mondello Park, you know, the car driving place. I said it, I've never heard of Mondello Park. One of the lads, Jason, said it in the car. When I next time went to my phone, the first thing that came up on Instagram, Mondello Park. Mad. What?
Yeah.
Like, they're just, and like, it's so smart because I did click on the link to see how much it cost.
And it's
if
handy.
I had 500 quid to drive a Ferrari, I'd probably do it. And boom, sell.
Yep.
Sale. And I wouldn't have heard about it again. It's mad.
This
It's
is something
data.
I've only
It's
come to
fucked.
terms with, is the fact that this technology has actually made my life easier.
Yeah.
It's been kind of a
depends the way-
benefit
yeah,
to me.
It's a good way to look at it as adversity if you don't want to be buying new
Yes.
stuff. But then sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I was looking for a tent or I was looking for a whatever, and the ad comes up for camping things. Tent.
Watch
Like,
now, tomorrow now there'll be tents. Not even tomorrow. Like, that's actually
Now.
that is something that has changed.
yeah.
Is the speed that the list of ads will
weird.
change is crazy. Because my housemate brought in an Alexa after the Christmas, and I had real issues with him because I have a problem with all these
She's
gizmos and
listening.
gadgets. Anyway, and next thing we had this woman sitting in our flipping living room listening to everything we were talking about and conveniently putting up ads on her stupid little screen that's constantly rolling. And one of the things that it started doing was changing from products to recipes. And that's when I'm like, no, because we're always talking, it's in the living room / kitchen, so we're always talking about food. I'm always cooking and talking about the new recipes I'm doing. The boys are currently on diet, so they're talking about new diets and recipes they're doing and foods they're eating. And Alexa went from changing from advertising products and news stories to BBC Good Food recipes and the best cakes and where to buy the ingredients. And all of a sudden they've got this beautiful photo of this dinner that looks so good.
and you're like,
Oh, it's so crafty.
so crafty.
It's so crafty.
Crazy.
We do have to protect ourselves against these kind of things.
Yeah.
Do you do much advertising with?
No, I've paid. I think I did some sort of advertising about 6 months ago. I was like, right, I'm going to give this a twist, and I think it was like €40 on advertisement over like 4 days. It was going to reach like 15,000 people.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, the post got a couple of likes. I think it was a competition. I think I promoted a competition. That I shouldn't have done that because it's already promoting itself because everyone's sharing it.
Well, no, it's
But whatever.
competition is one of the
It
things you should
probably
promote,
hits
I
some
think.
more people, but it's hard to get. It's hard to know if the followers came from that advertisement or not. And I feel like once you advertise, your algorithm is lowers, so they like want more advertisement. Like they want you to keep buying that. If you get me? I think it makes sense. It has to.
It does make sense.
Like they want you to be advertising, even if it's a tenner a post. Like, oh, why not promote this? It actually always comes down on Instagram. It's like I watch a story, and the next story is why not promote this? Recommended promotion of like a previous post or a story or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not spending more money on ads, because people just skip straight by them.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they see it. Yeah, you see the ad, whatever. It plays in the mind for like a split second. But now it's so like that. It's so easy to scroll. It's this infinite scroll now on everything.
And what's interesting is that like if you see a post, you move past it, and then you kind of think about it, like, oh, and you go back to check something on the post, and you go scrolling back up, and you're like, oh, it's just up here. Oh yeah, I recognize this post. It's just after that post. And you realize, and you go, oh my goodness, you have scrolled
so
maybe
much
hundreds
stuff.
of posts.
Every 5 posts on Instagram is an ad. 1, 2, it's like Timmy, John, and Kira, and it's like boom, ad, and like 5 more of your mates' pictures, ad, 5 ad. Try it out.
I had noticed there seemed to be a frequency. I just didn't.
YouTube ads. When do they start? They're so annoying. And now you can't even skip them anymore.
But here's the thing though with them is that a certain amount of them are beneficial to people who are starting out, because the other thing that the ads have to do is that if you've now paid for it, the social media platform, thank you, have to show some results for you to come back and buy another ad.
They're so
and
long.
So some of those results can be good.
Ads put me off some things.
In which way? Oh, if you see something advertised, you automatically go, no.
Like I feel like Rockshore ads are always playing on my YouTube, and I'm just like, oh, like I don't want to watch 20 seconds of Rockshore ad. Like I know what it is. Yeah, it's nice. Cool, but like you can't. But like when you can't get away from them, it's annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Everything's money monetized now. Every single thing is monetized.
Yeah, it is, and there's pros and cons to that as well. But,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, there is.
It benefits. And
I wouldn't mind a 35mm vintage advertisement before every single YouTube video. So.
It would be handy.
But then people will be like, eh.
It has that effect.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
It turns some people off.
It's an interesting topic.
Yeah, it is.
Like you have to market. But yeah. It's a weird game. You can't win. It's always going to be
house always wins, man.
Yeah,
house always wins. And this is the other thing, is that if you don't pay for a product, you are the product, and that's what we're seeing with things like TikTok and social media in general. And there's
ads all over TikTok.
The ads are all over.
I don't go on it much, but
and you're providing, every time you interact with the platform, you are providing the data that app needs to sell for how your behaviors when you're on that app, what do you stop for, what do you not stop for. All those little micro interactions is where that social media is making its cash, and you need to be aware of that. People need to understand how that works, because like they'll devise systems to reach you using your own habits.
Yeah, they show, okay, this is a big list of people in Ireland that love cars. Mondello Park pay for this a premium price for the targeted audience that they want. Yeah, they get more results. Facebook gets more money because the results are coming through and turning and converting into sales. Like it makes complete sense. Like if I'm liking and watching a load of car videos, that ads for stuff like that comes up, or skateboards, whatever you're into. Like ads, and
it builds from there. Yeah.
It just builds, but it has to be done as well. Like it makes sense from loads of business points of view. Like if I want to be advertising, I can do targeted ads for people who are interested in keywords, as in vintage clothes, Nike, Adidas, for example. And then it's like boom, target audience, say 120,000 people in the Dublin, Galway, Cork area. I can just go and pay whatever. And it's hard to know, do sales come for that? But
I think they probably do. At the very least,
probably do.
Your audience increases.
But then when I go, like, when my phone goes ding and it's like, oh, someone has ordered, it's like, oh, do they follow me? I don't know. Do they come from the advertisement? I don't know. You have to be looking into it. I don't need to know, but like for advertising, if I was to advertise on Instagram, say promote a post about a sale, for example, and I'm like bling 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 sales. Okay, yeah, cool. That was obviously the thing. But was it just that I'm promoting it myself as well from the page too?
Is this you trying to figure out whether the ad was worth it?
Yeah, is the ad worth it? Like, is the price you pay for every view worth it? Like, is the 8 cent per view converting to sales kind of thing?
Yeah, I get you. I do get you. I think because viewership is one of the only things we can really measure, I think you just have to accept, is the viewership worth it to you? Whether or not it's actually giving you the sales is just the fact that people are seeing it enough for you to be like, okay, that's grand.
Yeah.
Because it is just about getting your name out. And where can people have you a website?
Yeah.
Where can people reach you and your products and all your different side gigs?
Instagram 35mm_vintage. Website the same, 35mmvintage.com.
Is the website linked with the Instagram?
Yeah, in the bio. You can usually tap to buy stuff. Off-piste, no website, waiting on board still, but they were just being sold through Instagram.
Okay.
Trippy cases underneath as well. Like again, there's a website for Jen's stuff. That's all. Yeah, that's all me.
that's all your
yeah, it's all Instagram. Instagram's the only way to go. Like it's just everything now. Everything's on Instagram.
Would you believe that Facebook is still the biggest marketplace?
I'm trying to stay on Facebook as well.
I have my accounts linked.
Yeah.
But I don't go to Facebook to post anything individually.
No. I'm the same. It's Instagram. They're linked, and I feel like they post. The last day I ended up posting every single Instagram picture from 35mm vintage on Facebook. Dad rang me. He's like, "Did you just post 1,300 pictures onto Facebook?" I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh shit! I'm after posting like my whole camera roll."
Yeah.
And I was like, I do not want all that on Facebook. And I clicked in, and I was beside one of the lads at the time. He was scrolling, and I was like, no, that's sound. There's no
nothing that shouldn't be
inappropriate
there,
pictures there. There's just all the 35 things, and I couldn't even delete it. It was just a weird one. I don't know how that happened.
That is weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Because the other thing that happens with the Facebook, despite it being the biggest, is that I have almost no interaction.
But it's the older generation is on Facebook.
It is the older generation.
Like Dad scrolls through Facebook. He goes on Instagram now and TikTok. I've got him on TikTok.
Oh, whoa!
So he loves TikTok. He loves.
Did he do the Instagram? Sorry, did he get on Instagram as well?
He's on Instagram for a good while. Yeah, he doesn't be posting that. DJ Dennis Charlton.
Oh,
follow.
DJ Dennis Charlton. There you go.
He'll comment on my shit every now and again.
Nice.
I reply like a heart. And he has bad eyesight, so he has like the zoomed up thing in his old iPhone 5. It's like ultra zoom, so like when you go on, you can't even read like 3 words of a post. You have to see more. You're scrolling for ages to see like a description of a photo. It's so funny.
So Instagram's your main place at the minute.
Instagram's the way to go. Yeah.
While we acknowledge a lot of people use Facebook, it doesn't seem to be where we make money, or at the very least where our audience is.
Yeah. I use Facebook for the Vintage Plaza, since this is like Vintage Plaza. Yeah, 35mm vintage is upstairs. That's the closed part of the business. But the downstairs, you saw the sweets, ice cream, coffee, and like gifty stuff. Bless you. That's all downstairs. And like the Vintage Plaza company, I need to start taking more seriously, because I'm just focused on this. This is my baby, and the skateboards when they come eventually. But staying on top of like having the older generation, it's not offensive, like to be aware of like our opening hours, what's in here, etc. They're just not on Instagram.
They're the ones in the money.
They do, yeah.
They have the money.
Yeah. So like that's what I've been trying to incorporate more now is Facebook, so people actually know where this place is, which is good, which is important as well. So it's important to be on all platforms.
It is, yeah.
YouTube could be cool here. Doing a video, doing like a vlog, like I have a camera like yourself, doing like a video thing of like unboxing a box of clothes kind of thing. I've seen other pages do it and it's really successful. Or like vlog of like the trip to like Dublin to get like wholesale.
Or ideally England.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You actually, the full thing would be actually
cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
And then
would be fun.
Just on that one, do you have a company name registered in Ireland?
Sole Trader.
You're under a sole trader.
Yeah,
because that's one of
Cian Charlton.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's you've just put everything under that name.
I'm a sole trader because it just makes sense when it comes into the dibs and dabs. First year, I was just recommended to be sole trader for the first year, because revenue wasn't going to be like massive to like limit the company, and like limiting the company is important in some industry, but not this. Like nothing's going to happen to you if you wear my clothes that makes me liable for €1 million payout. Yeah. So sole trader just made sense. You can have your expenses on car, you can have your expenses on stuff.
You know all about the expenses.
I can level up my business and keep my personal income low, and not have to pay massive amount of tax.
Yes. Okay, you are on top of those sort of things as well.
Yeah,
because that's something now for young people.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Particularly, it struck me when you were talking about setting up maybe a 35mm Galway and Cork or wherever you go. Is people, when you go to do these things legitimately, there's a lot of work in it and there's a lot of pitfalls, and we're not taught about it, and it's hard to get all the information.
Yeah.
And so I've spoken to a few different people about trying to find the information and how to filter it down to how it's actually going to benefit us. And there's a lot of things people can do if they have a business that will benefit them financially, and such as offloading your expenses onto your company. So Blank Slate Media is registered as a company. The problem is it makes no revenue. Now, so for people, the first thing is you don't have to pay any tax in your first year. That much is true. So people think People who walk into the year 2 suddenly get hit with this tax bill. They haven't been saving up the money to cover it. They think it's all a scam. They think they're being screwed over by the revenue. It's not. You just didn't do your homework. And so fellas come out, and I watched a business owner in Dublin come out. He owns a chain of shops. He's been watching employees of his move out to try and set up their own shops, and I think he's quite bitter over it. And she's come out and said, "Oh, there's all these negatives about setting up your own business. You have to do this, this, and this, and this, and this." Yeah, you do. But if you're aware of it, then it's not a problem. You just have to be aware of it. So there's a lot of things you can do as a sole trader. Yeah, so I'm in the same category. I'm a sole trader. Yeah.
Sole trader.
Yeah, sole traders.
No tax in the first year.
No tax in the first year.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
You're allowed to own, and then you're allowed to earn up to. Then you have your tax credits and everything kicked in.
Yeah, as a singular person, as Timmy Brown.
Mm-hmm. Blank Slate Media.
You trade under the name of Blank Slate Media.
Yeah, Blank Slate Media. So any revenue will go through Blank Slate Media. I would then pay myself off Blank Slate Media.
Okay.
So that's the trick that people do. So I would put I'd be employee of Blank Slate Media. Yeah, and Blank Slate Media is out here. I'd have my tax credits and be income tax on the money I be coming off.
And then the money, and then Blank Slate Media as an individual entity has its own money.
Yes,
technically.
Yes,
so
that's exactly.
Yeah. There's loads of different ways actually playing with it and doing.
Yes, there is. And so one of the other things Eugene was quite forceful on was multiple accounts. No one should have one bank account. You should have multiple accounts for multiple reasons, and some of them should be hard to get to in order to increase your savings. And especially with a business, your tax bill may be a shock when it actually comes. So you have a separate account where you are putting aside money for the tax bill when it inevitably comes. The other thing is that you don't have to file your tax every year. The revenue will come once every 8 years to check all your accounts. They'll do a full check once every 8 years. You can wait and stockpile 8 years of tax returns. Not a good idea.
And then be busted.
That is not a good strategy. No. You can do that. Not a good strategy. Every year, or ideally every month, for people setting out a business, every month they should be recording. Even if the business isn't making a revenue, you should be recording all your expenses, all your incomes, writing it all down, keeping all your receipts. And the way that comes back is that at the end of the year, you write off all your expenses against your tax. Your tax bill comes in. Will you say, well, even though it's a personal car, now ideally you put your car into the company's name, ideally, but I don't know if you can do that with sole trader. You definitely do with private limited, but I don't know about sole trader.
But is that benefit in kind then when you're limited?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then you're still paying for that. It depends on the car. If you're going buying a brand new,
well, you have to get a commercial vehicle.
Yeah.
But what you do is, so anywhere you drive, so for example, if I dropped 30 quid on diesel to come up here today, I keep that receipt. That gets written off against my tax bill. If I took you out for coffee, €8 for two of us having coffee, I can keep that receipt and write that off against my tax bill.
Yeah.
If I go for dinner after this, I can write that off against my tax bill. If I stay in a hotel overnight here, I can write that off against my tax bill.
Yeah.
People need to learn that there are so many ways.
But you have to have the receipt.
You have to have the receipt,
which is the thing. Which is easy to forget about, because Dad has drilled that into me now. Receipts.
Every last penny that goes out, you get a receipt for it,
and then it was an expense. That's not your money. You spent it on the business,
and you get more money then into the business at the end of the day,
because you have. I saw a great analogy of it. It's a good way of doing it. It's like being employed and being the business, where the employed, like a business can make 100 quid and spend like 80 of it on like a new printer, new bits, new bobs, and like things, equipment, and be left cameras, with €20 and pay 20% tax on €20. 16, they pay €4 tax. Whereas the employee gets their €100 paycheck, buys like a new shoe, like goes out for pints, goes out for dinner, and ends up paying like tax on that whole.
Every step,
step is paid tax on. When you've no expenses. I explained that really shittly, but like that kind of spend the money as a business.
Yes, spend it as a business.
Don't be stockpiling it. Then it's just more money at the end of the year, and then you have to pay tax on it.
Now,
upgrade.
The tax bill is always a big one. Upgrade anything you can upgrade that helps the business, that will bring in more revenue. Spend it.
Yeah.
Keep a rainy day fund. Keep your tax bill fund. One of the big advantages and the subsequent disadvantage for a sole trader is that as a private business, as a private company, you can carry over expenses into, I think it's up to 5 years an expense. So say you buy a premises 100k and your business makes 80k that year. So you have 20k of an expense left over. So you can write off every penny of the tax bill that comes in. You can write that off against your expense because that's just the premises as one of your biggest expenses. Now obviously people have a lot more than just that as a single expense.
Yeah.
But as a private limited company, that 20 grand that was left over from the end of covering your tax bill can be spread out over the next 5 years. Sole trader, no, you can't carry expenses, which is a disadvantage.
Yes.
And that's where spending the money that come in through the business and writing it off that year becomes important.
Yeah. But you can also limit yourself as a company any day. If I want to do it next month, I just could. I could just register. It's not too worrying, I suppose, but you can get absolutely done by staying as a sole trader and playing dumb, and then you're getting your 40% income tax on your over 34,000.
Yeah, 30 in around that 33
something like that. If the business is doing good, you're going to be hopefully making 50, 60. I don't know, whatever. You're paying 40% on that. That's 20k tax, and then you're still 20% on your next. The last 32, which is another 5 or 6k. So you're paying 30k to the government. Yeah, it's crazy.
And that was one of the negatives this business owner from Dublin was complaining about. Was why should he work all these extra hours only to go into the higher tax bracket just to be shafted by the revenue and lose all the money? It's okay.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
People need to change their mindset when it comes to making money and paying their taxes. Yeah. You can make less money, be less successful, own less shops, stay in the lower tax bracket.
And stay grand.
Have an okay quality of life.
But if you want to be rich, you have to pay the tax. That's just it.
So get over it.
Yeah,
it is better for you to have spent, now I'm pulling these figures out of my head, spend 8 grand in your tax, but live on 40,000 euro to spend however you want over
rather than pay 6 grand tax and live on 30k.
There you go. The logic is people don't think about it properly.
And if you do it right, you can just really, really enjoy yourself with your business expenses. Yes. You can have dinner all the time. It's an expense. And then it comes off at the end of the year.
All over the place.
Yeah. But it does feel weird when you are not getting that back. It is an expense.
It's a transition. You have to make that mental transition.
You have to put yourself in that mindset of wait, expenses.
Yeah.
And
Expenses. Oh man, I can't wait till I'm actually making a revenue off this stupid business.
What's your plan to make money on it?
Oh,
how?
So these were the strategies become a bit generic. Sponsorships. So I have my first sponsorship. Shout out Float Cork. Anyone wants to unwind, sit back, have an experience. Float Cork, Eden Hall Cork. 15% off when you use Rambleland at checkout. Highly recommend going for a float. They're my first sponsor.
Class.
More of them. And the more of them I get, the more I can monetize off them.
Cool.
And then over time, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to have a list of ways that I have brought revenue to other businesses, and then I can go to bigger businesses and be like, look, I have brought X number of revenue to these people. I want sponsorship because I can bring you these X number of extra customers, etc.
Cool. So
sponsorships is a big one. The social media monetization platforms ideally is one of the best ways to go about it. But it's hard. It's like YouTube. You need 1,000 subscribers, and I think it's 10,000 watched hours minimum just to be eligible,
to get ads.
Just to get onto that platform where you can get ads, and then you're only making a handful of quid per ad. And
Yeah.
Then you have to decide pay per click or pay per view, and there's a whole different system about whether or not your business is one that brings in customers that will watch an ad or ones that are clicking on ad. It's very clever, but it's very fascinating. So monetization. I am monetized on my Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But I make I think it's 2 cents a view. So it's pittance. And after 9 months, so that was the other thing. I'm with a group called Spreaker. I'm on their lowest paid platform. And it took me 9 months to make $10. And $10 is the minimum amount you need to earn before you can request a payout. So I'm going to do a video talking about the fact that I'm finally eligible. And I've actually made my first paycheck.
Tenner.
Media.
$10 or €10?
$10. Yeah, so it's like
€7.50. You can buy nearly 2 coffees.
And so sponsorships, monetization. The seminars then is the next one. So launch back in with the seminars. So the seminars, we have the content, we have the quality. I'm actually speaking with my business partner on Sunday about that. We get back once COVID flips off and we can fill up a hotel room, we'll kick the seminars back up. And then I don't know about products. I'm in two minds about. I love branded products. I will eventually make branded products for me to wear on the podcast, but I run into problems when it comes to the fact that I don't believe we need more products in the world, and I don't like creating brand new products. Now, what you've done with with stitching on your brand onto an existing product, I did not know you did that, and I really like that.
You can vibe with that, yeah.
I can vibe with. I'm going to take that idea away with me.
Yeah.
But as terms of making brand new products from scratch, I don't want to do it. Now, I have the mugs. The mugs at the minute are too expensive to get made.
I can make mugs.
We will talk after the podcast, because
Yes,
currently to make the big mugs, they cost me €16 per pop, and that's at
For you,
€50
much better price.
wholesale piece. They're still €16 per piece for the big mugs.
How big?
The small for a big real man mug.
16 ounce.
16 ounce.
Mug.
Yeah, 16.
They're 11. We'll talk after.
Yeah, we'll talk after.
Didn't
Yeah,
wanna
we'll
hear
crack
about
into that.
Yeah. Cool.
And then the smaller mugs were 12 something to make. Now these were nice mugs. They were particularly nice. But then when it comes to sell, I was using PayPal, and I didn't realize that PayPal would take a cut out of every sale, a significant hefty cut.
Yes, a significant
And the next thing
cut.
I realized, I was making like 60 cents on all my mugs. And that didn't even include posting and packaging. So I would have been selling the mugs at a loss. I ended up having to hand deliver just about all the mugs, which worked out pretty well. I didn't mind. I like meeting the customers. There's only one batch of mugs I did. So I don't mind making mugs, because mugs are something that break. People need more mugs, and I like having a good mug. So I might get back into the mugs properly, but I don't have a good supply chain of them. I don't have a good source.
Not yet.
Not yet. Anyways, networking. So I have potentially selling branded products as a way of making money too. But I don't know what other ways you can make money off these things. You have to have the imagination to monetize your audience, and that's not an easy thing, because your audience aren't coming to you saying, here, take my money. You have to put them into a position where they're willing to give you money, and that's
seminars is cool. That's cool.
The seminars is a good way to do it.
Workshops.
We have to be careful now not to be. There's a large area. There's a large market of people, con men, who are coming in and selling people wishy-washy self-help nonsense. Make people feel good. These motivational speakers.
Feel good books. Yeah, of course.
We're doing our utmost to avoid being branded one of those.
Yeah.
It's a very treacherous road, because people will write you up as one of them way too quick. We have to be able to sell something that people are benefiting from. So there's a lot of...
But like, what's the definition of that? It's hard to define. Like, who can get stuff from what? And like, one person will come into a seminar or a workshop and be like, yeah, it's the same shit every other fella says. So it's a hard one. I wouldn't get too downed up on that. I feel like you wouldn't do that. Do you know? I feel like it would be interesting. I feel like
it's a good way of making money, which is why the business model works.
Yeah. They need to be entertaining as well as informative. That's
my job. So my business partner is a psychologist. He handles the meat. I provide the dressing.
Yeah.
So I'm
the Caesar salad dressing.
Yeah, I'm the dressing. Yeah,
delicious.
Exactly. So we have a nice sort of yin and yang system going between the two of us. We both bring something unique to it. And I'm looking forward to getting those back up and running, because now he's built networks in Norway, and so anything like that looks good, because when we're running seminars in Norway, I can market that whole fact that Blankside Media now runs seminars internationally. It looks real good. That'll be good. That'll be a good aspect for the branding. Cool. So COVID kind of staggers everything, but I've made COVID work to my advantage as best as possible.
Yeah, me too.
Because
everyone was on their phone and everyone was online.
Yeah.
Everyone was flicking.
Yeah, everyone was scrolling, man. That's the majority of what they were doing, and watching stuff, like, hence why the podcast worked well. But yeah, that's where I see Blank Sick Media making money, hopefully, potentially. But, you know, I'm easy going.
Yeah. As long as you're having fun.
As long as you're having fun.
I need to go to the toilet.
And so do I. So, Cian, I'm actually going to we'll wrap it up there, because I want to get a nice shot. I want to go through the stuff you have here and provide footage for people to be able to see it. So thank you very, very much, man, for having me. It's a beautiful place you've crafted here. I wish you all the best. I think you've many more levels to go in your career and in where you go. I'm looking forward. You're exciting to watch. We've done this. People know where to catch you. Get on to 35mm vintage. Get on to all the off-piste.
You know, did you ever go skiing?
Once, yeah.
Do you know, like when you go off piste, it's like off the trail.
Yeah. That's
So like
what that
off
is.
the trail,
Okay.
deviating
Off-
from what is
Nice.
normal,
I like how
conventional,
you tie
and
in your
usual.
philosophies in your.
That's
with your
where
things.
off
That's what I
piste
do with
came
Blank
from.
Slate
I don't
Media
know.
as
I
well.
like the little mountain emoji, not emoji, little graphic.
People need to get onto this. Follow it. I'm excited for you. And
I'm excited for you.
thank you. Thank you. I'm
Go
looking forward to
Mongols.
see where we go.
Yeah.
Nice one, bro. Thank you very much, man.
How long was that? An hour?
And shout out to the boys. Thank you for being quiet and for being good. My first live audience. We love you, New York.
I'd say you had some crack over there.
It's like the sidemen always have their crew on the side watching in. And
Was that absolute trash talk, or was that actually an alright conversation?
yeah,
I thought we got into nice topics.
content. We did.
Yeah. A few bits and bobs, yeah. Considering the lack of preparation.
Yes. Yeah. Literally.
In all fairness.
Yeah.